Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Slcmof. I'm back again with another video with my DC verified fan and my Batgirl shirt. I'm decked out today for New Comic Book Day, and it's not just any comic book day. I gotta turn this down. We have the DC Rebirth books, which I'll be reviewing. So I do not have Green Lantern, is the only one I don't have today. However, I do have Green Arrow, which has the return of Black Canary, which I know a lot of people, particularly those that hate the show Arrow, are going to be very pleased with. We have Superman Rebirth, and we also have the one that I know a lot of you guys on this channel are going to be most excited for, and that is Batman Rebirth. So let's go ahead and start off with Arrows. Green Arrow. I got to get in the habit of saying Green Arrow, not just Arrow. So this book, I'll show you, like a page or two out of each one, and this one really kind of caught me off guard right away. It's very political, this one. The first 5 pages are. And it kind of caught me off guard. There's things about, like, fascism and just, like, it kind of threw a wrench in what I was expecting out of this book. However, it gets into the Black Canary stuff very quickly, and it develops that storyline with Black Canary rather abruptly, in a good way, because, of course, that's something that a lot of people have been asking for. Me, personally, I'm not, too picky on that, but I do like seeing Black Canary and Green Arrow together. So, it works out very well. And by the end, you see that arc kind of formulate. It is very much so, I wouldn't say a love story between them, but it is this book is primarily, I would say, about them coming back together, and that's all I'll say about it. I don't want to get too much into detail because there's a whole nother subplot that kind of gets woven in beginning, and that, right off the bat at the beginning of it. But there's a lot of really interesting, political ideas explored in it, and that kind of caught me off guard because there's the whole notion of, well, Green Arrow, you fight for the little guy, you help protect the small people in Seattle, is where this one takes place, of course, and you fight for the little guy, but you then go home to your massive estate and basically soak in baths of gold, you know what I mean? So there's interesting contrast there. So that's all I'll say about Green Arrow. I did really enjoy it, and it was definitely different from what I was expecting, but I'm going to be picking up Green Arrow #1 when that comes out. So now let's go and talk about Superman Rebirth. Now, very much so, this is Superman 53. Really, if you think about it, it is an extension of that story. Of course, spoilers for those who aren't aware, Superman does die in Superman number 52 of the New 52 run, and this, very much so in every way, is a continuation of that. This title, or this, picture, to a certain degree, is not representative of what's happening, because, of course, the Superman that you follow throughout the majority of the book is the Superman in all black here. This is actually a flashback page you're looking at. And the way they do the flashbacks, I will not spoil what storyline is alluded to in the flashback, but it's done very well, and I was really excited to see it. And this also ends in a pretty pleasing way, a pretty fulfilling way. Of course, you can look at all of these as one-shots of sorts, with the exception of the Batman one. I think very much so is going to be very integral in shooting into, Batman #1, which comes out in 2 weeks. But very much so, Green Arrow and the Superman stories have their own conclusive, fitting endings that can be identified as their own thing. Alright, and finally we do have Batman Rebirth. I would say that this was my most anticipated book of Rebirth. I was really interested in the way they were going to take it. This, on the contrary, is not so much a continuation of the New 52 arc as the Superman one was. This is very much so its own thing. You can kind of just pick it up, and it starts its own story straight away, and you see an introduction of a character that really is integral into the later parts of the story, and there is a somewhat shocking revelation that goes on later in the story as to what Batman is doing with that character, or what that character is planning on doing, or that plans kind of thing. I can't go too far into it. This book does feature Calendar Man, which I think is a great way to kick off the Batman arc. I'm presuming we're going to see him in Batman #1 and Batman #2 in the future, and that's an interesting choice because, we just learned that we have Jokerception in, Rebirth, which I also went to the midnight premiere to get that one, and, I have mixed feelings about that, but at the same point, I was hoping that we would get a change of pace in terms of the antagonist, because Batman does have the strongest rogue gallery in all of comics. You have so much to choose from, and I feel like it's a sin to kind of pick the Joker every time, as we've seen with the Arkham games, for example. So I think it's a great choice for them to go ahead and mix it up with Calendar Man, who I think is an interesting choice because he's not as mainstream as some of the other ones, even much so more like a Riddler or a Penguin that you've seen in the movies. So Calendar Man is somebody that not only is great for this book, but I would love to see in the DCEU, because they also have a little bit of a different, interesting spin on them. I can't say because I do want to keep this non-spoiler, but yeah, I would say that's pretty much it for my thoughts. Overall, if I'm going to go ahead and rate all of them, I'll say that I'll give each of these books a 9. They're very good, they're solid, and I suggest that you pick them up, and most importantly, they're setting up, you know, DC, you know, or whatever, Green Arrow #1. They're setting up Superman #1, and all 3 of these books do that very nicely, and I'm intrigued to read all 3 of them. So after reading DC Rebirth for Superman, Batman, and Green Arrow, I'm interested to see what they've got cooking in 2 weeks from now for all 3 of these books. Keep in mind as well that next week we have Wonder Woman, next week we have Flash, we have Aquaman, I believe. We have a few other characters, so I think we've got 4 new Rebirth books coming out next week, and then the week after, remember that all of these books are on a bi-monthly release schedule. So let me actually just pull out this Batman book and show you in the very back, not spoilers, but here we can see we've got Flash #1 coming next week. We also have the Green Lanterns, and that actually came out this week. Remember, this is twice monthly. The Flash is also twice monthly, so 2 Wednesdays a month we get a brand new issue. That's the same thing with Wonder Woman, and then that is the same thing with Aquaman. So I'm really excited for that. Actually, yeah, Aquaman does begin in June. So that's really exciting to me. Oh, I forgot to show you this. We have also, so Batman #1, that comes out in 2 weeks from now. That's with the Rebirth, this book set up. And then you have, this is Detective Comics Batman, which I believe, oh no, that's written by James Yvonne IV. I don't know who that is. But then we have All-Star Batman, which is going to be written by Scott Snyder, which I'm also really excited for, and I think that that's going to be pretty awesome, and is one that basically you're going to be reading that alongside this one, and maybe even with Detective Comics Batman too. So a lot of Batman coming up, which is exciting. Of course, it makes the most sense for DC to have a lot of books for this character, seeing how popular he is, and I look forward to reading all of those in addition to the other DC Rebirth books. So, next week, if you want me to, I'll do my review for the Wonder Woman and the Flash and all those kind of things. If you want, let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comment section below. Do you want to see more comics videos? Because I love doing them. I read a lot of comics. I don't say them, actually. I think if you see right there, that show, oh, you can't really see it anyway, but right over there is like a big stack of comics that I read, and every year at Free Comic Book Day, I also get like 50 comics, 50 to 100 comics, and I read them pretty regularly. You know, I go to my comic shop every week, so, you know, the point is I read comics a lot. I don't talk about them on the channel, but I would be definitely willing to do so if you guys are interested in seeing it. Okay, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one.